In celebration of World Teachers Day on October 5th, 2022, we'll be speaking with QPAT President Heidi Yetman. Pour célébrer la journée mondiale des enseignantes et des enseignants le 5 octobre 2022, nous avons une conversation avec la présidente de l'APEQ, Heidi Yetman. This school year will be Heidi's last year with QPAT. We are sad to see her go, but very excited for her new adventure. She has been elected as the president of the Canadian Teachers Federation and will begin her mandate at the end of this school year. Ça sera notre dernière année avec Heidi Yetman comme notre présidente de l'APEC. Nous sommes tristes de la voir partir, mais nous sommes heureuses pour son nouveau chemin. Elle sera la nouvelle présidente de la Fédération canadienne des enseignantes et des enseignants à partir de la fin de l'année scolaire. Welcome, Heidi.
Hi, Julie.
So today is a very special episode. It's our first one of the new season, and we're celebrating World Teachers Day.
I know, and teachers around the globe, that's what World Teachers Day is. It's to celebrate teachers around the globe. And teachers have a really hard job and they work so hard, so it's worth celebrating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I remember last year you told us a little bit about the history of World Teachers Day.
Yeah, so it's on October the 5th because in 1966, when I was born, I revealed my age. But anyway, in 1966, on the 5th of October, UNESCO set down some guidelines for the status of teacher. And so that's why it's on October the 5th. And UNESCO and Education International work kind of together. And if you're a teacher at QPAT, you're part of Education International. So there you go.
Very interesting. And what is the theme this year?
So this year, the theme is the transformation of education begins with teachers.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think of that theme?
It's so appropriate. It's the part that we need to do. Teachers, when I talk to teachers, not just in Quebec, but across Canada, they all say, we don't feel valued. We feel that, we have such an important role in society and yet we're not valued. And one of the biggest problems is we don't listen to teachers. It's all very top down. It's governments deciding what teachers are going to do. And teachers feel like they've lost their autonomy and that they don't have a say in their profession, which is such an important profession. So I really think, that it's a really good theme.
It's an excellent theme. Change, I think, with everything that we've gone through in these past couple of years, there's so many changes that have happened. We have to keep up and we have to ensure that the changes make sense for the teachers because it's a different world essentially that we're living in at this time.
Yeah, I'd love to see the transformation of education. I think that by giving the voice back to the teachers, that would be a huge transformation. I really believe that in Quebec, we are at a crisis situation, unfortunately, for a few reasons, shortage of teachers, the three-tiered system that we have here, and really results-based management. Everything is based on results. And so that creates competition and competition between teachers, between schools, and we need to walk away from that and transform. We need to have a conversation about education in this province.
And speaking of which, it's exciting at the same time because I do think change is going to happen. And ironically, this is going to be your last year here at QPAT. So next year, hopefully you'll be part of that larger conversation where you can make that change as well.
Absolutely.
Yes, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. And yes, it's so exciting to try to be the voice of teachers that don't seem to have that voice. If I look at those things that I just called out, the shortage of teachers is deprofessionalizing the profession because we're having to hire more and more unqualified teachers. So what's to say that we don't need qualified teachers anymore? And what's scary about that is that if we don't have qualified teachers, then the government will basically create curriculum so that it's really easy just to put it into the minds of students without creativity, without the knowledge of, being a teacher in a profession. So it takes away the autonomy of teachers when you have more and more unqualified teachers in classrooms. So that's a really big concern, that idea that, we're deprofessionalizing the profession. That's one of the big concerns. But here in Quebec, we also have a three-tiered system. We have the private sector, which is heavily subsidized by the government. And we have special project schools in the public that are selective. And then we have the regular school, the regular high school or elementary school. And I don't want to forget the adult and vocational teachers either. They're very, very important. And we need to consider those things too. We need to encourage students to go to vocational education. We need to encourage students to go to adult ed to get an education. Education is like, it's so important in society, and it creates a better society. So all of those people are important. I don't know if you've heard, but there's this group of parents. They call themselves École Ensemble. And they are asking for, that private schools no longer get subsidies and become public sector schools, and that we go back to the community schools. And I think that's a really interesting project that they're bringing forward. For those who were listening to the Radio Canada debate, which was a few weeks ago already, the École Ensemble group asked parents to write into Radio Canada to say, let's ask about this three-tiered system. And that was discussed at that debate. So it's really important. It has to get out there. We need to start talking about it.
And I don't think people realize it. It's very unique to Quebec. That doesn't exist elsewhere, at least in the rest of Canada.
Absolutely. I mean, we're starting to see bits of it. In Alberta, for example, charter schools. So we are seeing little glimpses of it, and that's very concerning, that whole privatization piece with public funds. I always said as a parent, my kids went to public school, and I always said, why are my tax dollars going to support somebody going to private school? It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I don't mind my tax dollars going to the public system, but it really does bother me that I'm paying also for the private system. So that's a really big concern, and we have to start talking about that for sure.
Yeah, all this, it ties into another big event that's coming up just around the corner. We have our negotiations.
Yes. And so, yes, believe it or not, we're going back into negotiations, and I want all the teachers to know that the QPAT negotiating team is ready to sit at the table, and we have to start talking about working conditions. I read a few weeks ago about a teacher that left after 11 years because she wasn't getting support in the classroom, and we're seeing more and more of that. We need to fix class composition. We need to make sure that the working conditions are good. And the last round, we got some money. This round, of course, we're also looking for salary, but we're also looking to try to fix the working conditions inside the classroom. But it's a vicious circle, right? In order to reduce class size, to make things better, we need more teachers, and there are just no teachers out there. Nobody is lining up at university to study teaching, which is so sad because it's such an amazing profession. So yeah, we're going back to the table, and fingers crossed that we can get something at this round for the working conditions.
Absolutely. And there'll be many more podcasts on the topic of negotiations in the coming weeks, months.
Yes, there will be.
And negotiations, and that ties into mobilization. So more information coming on.
Yeah, and we won't be looking at getting everybody mobilized until probably the spring, so we can all not worry about that for the moment. We're going to hold our energy because we're going to have to obviously mobilize probably in the spring to try to value this profession. We need to go out there and say this profession is is important, and we need to value it. And this podcast really is about teachers and the voice of teachers. And I just want to thank all teachers out there for the work that they do. They do an amazing, incredible job considering how few resources they have. And yeah, you're all so important to us.
Absolutely. And if you look at the Canadian Teachers Federation, their theme this year, the answer begins with teachers. La solution passe d'abord par les enseignants, les enseignantes. I think that's
absolutely, so important. And I want to invite everybody to the QPAT Convention that's coming up just around the corner. And I always describe our convention as teachers working together with other teachers. Like, that's really what it's about, and it's an amazing opportunity. There's very few organizations across this country that do anything like this, and I'm very, very excited because Rick Mercer will be our keynote speaker this year. We've been trying to get him for a few years, and finally we have him. So please come and let's celebrate the profession.
And the opportunity to get together in person again, I think that's going to make a big difference. It was great to do it via Zoom these past couple of years because of the situation with the pandemic, but to be together and to talk to people from all across the province, it's a celebration, and it's a great opportunity, to make those connections.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to see everybody. It's going to be so great. It's great that this unfortunately is my last year at QPAT, but at least I get to celebrate with teachers on the ground at convention. So I'm really, really excited.
Well, thank you so much, Heidi. So this coming October 5th, World Teachers Day, the answer begins with teachers. Thank you all for everything that you do. Thank you, Heidi.
Thanks.
Bonne journée mondiale des enseignantes et des enseignants. Merci pour tout ce que vous faites.